It has probably happened to you more times than you are willing to admit. You feel a sharp pinch in your lower back, an unusual pressure in your chest, or a chronic fatigue that 10 hours of sleep won't fix. You systematically ignore it. You convince yourself it's just stress. But what if that insignificant annoyance is actually a desperate cry from your nervous system? We live in a culture that trains us to silence the body to keep producing. But there was one woman who could not silence her body, no matter how hard she tried, the legendary Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. Her biology was a loud, agonizing scream that she was forced to listen to every single day. Today, we are going to discover how Frida transformed her physical torment into a map, and how ignoring your own body's signals is literally ignoring the very map that could save your life. There is a hidden truth behind what we feel, a grammar of pain that most of us have forgotten how to read. Frida Kahlo understood this grammar better than anyone. She transformed each of her ailments from her childhood polio to a devastating bus accident into an imperishable work of art. There is a painting of hers that almost everyone thinks they understand at first glance. It is vibrant, flooded with a carmine red, so intense it almost pulsates, seemingly celebrating existence in its purest state. But what the average viewer perceives as a simple still life of watermelons is actually the most heartbreaking and precise medical report in art history. Barely 8 days before taking her last breath, a woman who spent most of her adult life bedridden, trapped in a corset of plaster and steel, decided to paint her final masterpiece. If you look at this painting with the eye of a clinical investigator, you will notice these fruits are not ordinary. Their textures do not speak of summer sweetness. They speak of Frida Kahlo's human anatomy, disintegrating from the inside out in real time. It is a coded map, a visual autopsy performed by the patient herself before her heart stopped beating. Throughout her life, Frida painted in bed, staring at a mirror placed above her, forced to confront her failing biology daily. By understanding how she represented her failing organs through these watermelons, you will learn to identify the warning patterns your own body is emitting right now. This isn't just art, it is a user manual for the human body in crisis, written with Frida Kahlo's own blood and profound suffering. Why does your body choose specific areas to manifest pain? There is nothing random in biology. Your body uses a language of chemical and electrical symbols to warn you that its deep structure is failing. Frida Kahlo did not select watermelons for their taste or their popular Mexican aesthetics. She chose them because their hard skin, internal pulp, and structure were the perfect mirror of her own organs in imminent collapse. Think about it, the watermelon has a thick, unyielding protective rind, much like the agonizing plaster and steel corsets Frida was forced to wear just to sit upright. By deciphering this pictorial code, we learn to read the architecture of the symptom. What Frida tried to tell us in her last moments of lucidity is that the body never lies. We simply choose not to listen to its warnings until the whisper becomes a deafening scream we can no longer silence. Look closely at the skin, the rind of the watermelons. In Frida's final work, some are whole, while others are opened almost violently, with cuts resembling surgical incisions, a reflection of the more than 30 surgeries she endured. Notice the bumps, dark spots, and yellowish discoloration on the rind. This isn't fresh fruit. In the final year of her life, Frida was coding the gangrene that was literally devouring her right leg, leading to its amputation. In our daily lives, we hide our own spots under elegant clothes, ignoring that the skin is the first organ to reveal a failing immune system. Have you noticed subtle changes in your skin, or dark circles that won't fade? Those are the first paragraphs of a deeper warning about your internal balance that you shouldn't overlook, just as Frida couldn't overlook the decay of her own flesh. The red color of the pulp in this final painting possesses an intensity bordering on violent. It is not the refreshing red of summer, it is the dense red of concentrated hemoglobin, of a body suffused with systemic inflammation and a heart struggling to pump oxygen. In her final days, Frida suffered from severe anemia and acute circulatory problems that made every movement a silent agony. Her painting screams an uncomfortable truth. The bright intensity we show the outside world cannot be sustained if our internal fuel is exhausted. If this deep dive into Frida Kahlo's anatomical art is changing how you view your own health, this is the exact moment to join our community. Subscribe right now so you don't miss our next videos, where we decode the hidden secrets of history's brilliant minds to help you live a more conscious, healthy life. Let's talk about the seeds, the small black dots sprinkling the red pulp. They are not distributed randomly. They follow a metric rhythm, a visual heart rate that becomes erratic at the edges. For Frida Kahlo, whose shattered pelvis systematically denied her the ability to carry a child to term, these seeds carry a devastating weight. They represent her painful miscarriages, the life she could not generate, and the artistic legacy she left behind instead. In your own body, you are constantly generating seeds of biometric data, your cortisol spikes, your glucose levels, your heart rate variability. They are fragments of information that form the pattern of your long-term health. Ignoring this data is like looking at Frida's masterpiece and seeing only decorative fruit, completely missing the fact that she is documenting her own mortality, cell by cell, seed by seed. It is terrifying how the human psyche prefers denial over confronting biological fragility. We blindly want to believe that the phrase Viva la Vida, or long live life, carved into the red pulp by Frida, is a simple, optimistic anthem of joy. But is it really? Imagine having the courage to paint those vibrant words when you know your lungs are battling bronchopneumonia, your leg is gone, and you are heavily medicated just to endure the day. It is not a cry of naive happiness. It is a heroic act of fierce defiance by a woman whose biology is surrendering. Frida teaches us a vital lesson. Your mindset and resilient spirit can be your greatest allies against adversity, but they cannot replace genuine physical care. You cannot simply think positive to cure a pathology that demands you actually listen to your failing organs. Continuing our dissection, pay special attention to the deep, perfectly circular cut in the watermelon, dominating the lower center, executed with surgical precision. This detail is not a random aesthetic choice. It is a symbolic representation of Frida Kahlo's spine, the spinal column that was brutally shattered in a 1925 trolley accident, an event that pierced her pelvis with an iron handrail and marked the beginning of her lifelong physical ordeal. The problem with ignoring early signals is that the body has a relentless memory. An unresolved trauma, whether a physical accident like Frida's or a deep emotional wound, embeds itself in your tissues and alters your cellular chemistry for years. That tightness in your chest or heaviness in your gut aren't just floating emotions. They are tangible biological responses that, if ignored, mutate into chronic diseases decades later. Finally, look at the shadows. Despite the vibrant red, the shadows cast beneath the fruits are dense, opaque, and almost black. They represent the void, the profound loneliness of chronic illness that Frida wrote about in her diaries, and the failure of fragmented medicine. Frida sought help from countless doctors, undergoing experimental surgeries that often damaged one organ while trying to fix another. Treating symptoms as isolated machine parts rather than an integrated emotional system is dangerous. If you mask your exhaustion with caffeine, you only hide the shadow. Frida Kahlo's watermelons are an urgent call to listen to what is vital for your survival. Do you have the courage to change your course? If this resonated with you, like and share this video, subscribe to continue this journey. Your life is the canvas, painted with health, honoring Frida Kahlo's uncompromising legacy of self-awareness.